Europe's worst nightmare is coming true. Winter is around the corner and their biggest gas pipeline has been shut, the Nordstream 1. It was Vladimir Putin's trump card against Europe, a card that he has used before. The pipeline was first closed in the month of July. Russia said it was carrying out repair works. After 10 days, the gas flow resumed. Now they've done it again.
Huge move that threatens to unravel the existence of the European economy and send shockwaves into America. Russia has finally cut off all possibilities of supplying gas to Europe.
From heat waves to drought and from travel disruptions to cost of living crisis, summer of 2022 was unpleasant at the least for Europe. However, even the times ahead look grim as Europeans are staring at a difficult winter. With winters just around the corner, Russia has closed a crucial gas pipeline for Europe,
warning that supplies will not resume until the entirety of the continent of Western alignment, until American and until European sanctions are lifted from the Russian shoulders.
Liquefied natural gas facilities and electric power sites across America appear to be targets of attempted cyber attacks.
We're seeing economic warfare, and now has just been confirmed by the Kremlin itself that this is indeed economic warfare.
Blaming the West for disruptions, Gazprom said that the sanctions imposed by Western capitals against Russia do not allow for normal maintenance and repair work. Amidst the gas crisis, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called out Moscow, saying that the electricity market was no longer functioning because there is one actor, Russia, that is systematically trying to destroy it and to manipulate it.
Nord Stream 1 is the biggest gas pipeline between Europe and Russia. It transports 55 billion cubic meters of gas. You cut that off and you plunge Europe into darkness.
Russia's conflict with Ukraine dates back many decades. At the heart of the discord has always been power, sovereignty, and Western values. Here's why the conflict has extended beyond the two countries' borders to involve the US, NATO, and a host of other countries. The Soviet Union, also known as the USSR, was once a socialist nation that included Russia, Ukraine, and 13 other states. It was the largest country in the world at the time, and its people spoke over 130 languages. From the 1940s to the 1990s, the USSR and the US and their allies became locked in what became known as the Cold War, a long, tense conflict for world dominance between capitalism in the West and communism in the East. NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was created during this time to provide collective security against the Soviet Union. The membership-based military alliance, which exists to this day, would promote democratic values and cooperate on defense and security-related issues. During this period, the Soviet economy, military, and government was faltering. When Mikhail Gorbachev came to power in the 1980s and introduced a new set of freedoms and political reforms, some took advantage of this and started independence movements. By 1991, the USSR had completely devolved, the Cold War ended, and Gorbachev resigned. This is where the conflict really begins. The breakup of the USSR left sore wounds for some Russians, including Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin called the end of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century, and has been trying to gain control of the region ever since. At the same time, since the 1990s, many post-communist states requested and have been granted NATO membership, threatening Russia. Russia is especially concerned about Ukraine joining NATO and the European Union. Ukraine shares many cultural similarities with Russia, especially in the eastern and southern regions which are Russian-speaking. Putin has argued that Ukraine unfairly inherited historic parts of Russia during the demise of the Soviet Union. In 2014, Russia illegally annexed Crimea. In that same year, separatists, backed by Russia, took control of an eastern region known as Donbas. Russia has been giving these separatist forces military support and financial aid ever since. Its goal: weaken Ukraine and slow the country's tilt toward the West. Ukraine wants to keep its independence and sovereignty, and the U.S. has been trying to support that. Since 2014, it's committed more than $5.4 billion in total assistance to Ukraine in both security and non-security aid. While Ukraine hasn't joined NATO yet, it's been in talks since the 1990s. Ukraine needs all 30 NATO members to agree to be let in. So far, there hasn't been unanimous consent. The reasons vary from not wanting to upset Russia to believing Ukraine has too much unrest and corruption. For now, Western nations remain at odds with Russia over Ukraine. They're hoping for stability and peace, but seeing very little of it.
It was unprovoked, but this is what Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed on Ukraine as the sun came up this morning. A missile striking an industrial park in western Ukraine. A helicopter assault on an airport outside of Kiev. Close, intense fighting. And there are civilian casualties. Local officials say this apartment building was struck in eastern Ukraine. Heartbreaking images of people bloodied, staggering out of their homes. And this is what remains of another family's apartment. A baby stroller among the debris.
Yesterday, Vladimir Putin recognized two regions of Ukraine as independent states. And he bizarrely asserted that these regions are no longer part of Ukraine and their sovereign territory. We're implementing full blocking sanctions on two large Russian financial institutions. We're implementing comprehensive sanctions on Russia's sovereign debt. That means we've cut off Russia's government from Western financing. Our sanctions are likely to wipe out the last 15 years of Russia's economic gains. And because we've cut Russia off from importing technologies like semiconductors and encryption security and critical components of quantum technology that they need to compete in the 21st century, we're going to stifle Russia's ability and its economy to grow for years to come. All imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Now, before I summarize this mini documentary, don't forget to leave a comment and a thumbs up on this video. It takes a lot of research and time to put these together, and I would greatly appreciate it. Now, getting back into the video. Europe is in a really bad position right now. They don't have enough oil or enough natural gas to sustain themselves for the winter. As of right now, September 7th, the day that I'm recording this video, they are scrambling, looking for other resources to fill the gaps that Russia has left. Unfortunately, they're not having such a good time. Germany claims to have their stockpiles full for the winter, but they've never survived the winter on stockpiles, only off of production. Now, trying to understand this from an American point of view is kind of tricky because we've never experienced something like this because we've always been promised security. How we will react to that security being broken is a whole different game. Now, there are a lot of European countries that depend on Russian gas. You have North Macedonia that is 100% dependent on Russian natural gas. Finland, which is 94, Bulgaria, which is 77, Slovakia, which is 70, Germany, nearly 50% of Germany relies on Russian gas. Now, this is gas that powers pretty much everything. It gives the city power, it gives the city warmth. You control everything with that power. Without power, your infrastructure is gone. Italy, 46%, Poland, 40%, France, 24%. Now, there are a lot of countries that are in danger because of this. Not only will you see a really bad winter in Europe this year, but you're probably going to see some spikes in oil and some spikes in gas to go along with that. If you're living in Europe and you're not prepared for the winter, you must be prepared now. You have to have all your winter gear ready, all your backup gear ready, your thermal blankets, anything that you think you might need to warm yourself and your family, you need to stock up on it. You can't be dependent on this government to support you when times are going crazy, because they're out to support themselves first. Infrastructure comes first. People come very, very far on that list. You must sustain yourself. Millions of people in Europe will perish if something isn't done to protect them. Now take a look at the Dutch TTF natural gas futures contract. You have one of the biggest spikes on record. In 2 months, nearly triple what it was in the summer. If this doesn't scream bad news for people in Europe, you must open your eyes. Millions of people will die if they do not prepare. Millions of people will freeze and starve if countries don't act now. If you don't act now, you will be a victim. And don't let yourself be a victim. Before this video ends, I want to tell you guys about a project I've been working on. It's called Preppers Community. In Preppers Community, I want to bring together as many preppers as I possibly can into one big online community. For right now, it's going to be free. For the first 150, 200 members, it will be free forever. After that, it will be a charge of $7 a month. In my personal opinion, $7 a month to have access to a whole community full of people who are dedicated and who are waiting to help and exchange knowledge is priceless to me. If you're interested, look in the description of this video and join that. It's a Discord channel. You're going to have to make an account and do some sign up, but that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, and hit subscribe. Thank you.